Today we shall talk about thoughts I had after watching Loki episode 2. Now, these are not specially rooted in the plot of the story, but tangents that grew out of the plot and may apply to the series as a whole. Number 1. TVA is the real antagonist of the series, not Lady Loki. Let's look at the situation objectively. Now, Lady Loki, up till now, has been presented to us according to the version of the TVA. Although she is killing the troops or the Minutemen as they call, her motives are still clouded. But we can be pretty sure that she dislikes the structure system of TVA, just like our Loki. The motives of the TVA are out in the open, and as a human, I dislike those a lot. The TVA wants to destroy all free will, remove all the variants, kill all individuality, make the universe not an organic place but a systematic machine where the start and the end points are defined, and so is the path. Every sentient creature does its part, and the part is decided by someone else. Such a system looks quite draconian and fascist to me. I was fascinated to find many parallels between this TVA and 1984, the book. This one, the authority that is described in this book, tells its population how to think, how to talk, how to walk. The world in 1984 exists in a state of total authoritarian control. Every house and every public place is watched by a camera, a microphone, and all the surveillance devices you can think of. If you show behavior that is undesirable, you are caught, tortured, and realigned to show proper behavior which align with the thoughts and ideologies of the authority. By the way, 1984 is a brilliant book. It is the quintessential book for describing a future authoritarian state-run dystopia. And much of the future it described has come true in many different forms. Mass surveillance, language manipulation to change your thinking, unquestioning loyalty to the authority, changing or outright erasing the past to fit a narrative, betraying your true inner human nature to fit the ideology of the powerful. A great cautionary tale that disturbs me every time I revisit it. Let's see the parallels between the 1984 and TVA. Mass surveillance, check. They do that for every single person in the world. They have eyes on everyone at all times. Language manipulation, they call anyone who does not follow their rules as a variant. We see in the second episode as they call Loki a variant in a derogatory term. Unquestioning loyalty to the authority, you won't find even a single dissident in the TVA. If they did have a dissident, they would delete him like that. Changing or erasing the past to fit a narrative, that's literally their job. I firmly believe that the series would or should veer off into showing that the TVA is the real antagonist, that Loki, Lady Loki, and Mobius should team up and fight against the TVA system. This would actually answer the theme that was produced in the first episode of free will and determinism, and the protagonist should be on the side of free will. Number 2, Minutemen suck. Now this is kind of a nitpicky thing I noticed, but it was quite funny. Let's watch a clip. Remember, these people have the responsibility of handling reality shaking important things, and this is the level of training they have. What was that? Just give them shields. They only carry a baton. That's it. Now the series tells us that they have fought a lot of Loki variants. At least teach them knife defense. By now they should know this. That is the MO of Loki. That's how he operates. Knives are his favorite things. Look.
Handle me. Who are you?
But continuing the theme of bureaucracy, I guess even the field agents are incompetent. Number 3, character progression in Loki. Only Loki was able to solve the case by cracking the code of no variance energy in catastrophic or world-ending events. I like how the showrunners are digging into his core strength, that is, his intelligence. Now some might say deception is his core competency, but I believe the deception and the tricks are an extension of his intelligence. The intelligence took form of deception out of necessity, and the necessity was to prove himself. Now trying to prove oneself when you are the runt of the family is not uncommon, and everyone can understand this on some level. Now look to your older siblings if you have any. Now chances are at least once in your life you have felt that I need to surpass this guy in some aspect. Be it strength, be it studies, be it sports, anything. I need to be better than my older sister or my older brother in some way to beat them, to surpass them. All in friendly competition, of course. But you have that drive, and everyone can understand that. In the case of Loki, he experienced this in a hyper state. Just like Jon Snow in Game of Thrones. Just like Jon Snow, Loki was an adopted necessity in a family of royals. In the case of Loki though, that family is as royal as it gets. They were the literal gods of the universe. Despite having supportive siblings, the drive to prove oneself is overwhelming in such individuals. Now Loki is actually a frost giant. Loki could not match the raw strength his family had. They were simply much beyond him. So he took one tool and sharpened it as much as he could. That is his intelligence. We have seen time and time again how Loki outsmarted even the most powerful of beings in the universe. Throughout the many MCU movies, Loki has been incredibly resourceful, only depending on what he has in his mind and in his skill set. And the best part of the series is that series does not have to set this up at all. We already believe it because we have seen it happening in other MCU projects. The MCU has already done the grunt work of establishing the pains and gains of Loki, unlike some dumb mistakes like these ones. So this creates an excellent framework for further exploration or iterative mutation of each of their characters as the universe progresses. For now, I'm enjoying that Loki is using his core competency in something that is not malicious. Number 4, the character evolution of Mobius. From the second episode, we get a more rounded understanding of the character of Mobius. He was created inside the TVA and completely believes in their motto, total control of all things for all time, forever. He believes in this so much that he is willing to sacrifice his favorite thing, that is jet skis. But we see a deviation in his character from other TVA members. Unlike them, he is not cold-hearted. He was sympathetic to the people who were in the Walmart of the future, whereas the other TVA members were completely detached from the situation. They were even hostile to those people. So we see in Mobius a compassionate man who believes in certain things as they are and is willing to uphold the status quo, even if he has to sacrifice his joys or freedom for it. He is the most human character I have seen in a sea of drones. There was one character moment I noticed when Loki and Mobius went back to the destruction of Pompeii. This moment reminded me of a crucial plot point that happens in buddy cop movies. As I've explained in my last video, this series is an exploration in a variation of buddy cop movie genre. The plot bit I'm talking about is that at a certain point in these buddy cop movies, both of their personalities are being influenced by each other. Tiny fragments of the personality of one cop starts to flow and integrate into the personality of the other, and vice versa. The young brash cop starts to accept his responsibility and become more mature, whereas the older conservative cop looks at things in a different way, starts to open his mind, finds his youth again. So back to the series. Mobius helped Loki become free of his past and start accepting responsibility for himself and let go of his hatred towards others and even himself. Now it is Loki's turn to influence Mobius. During the destruction of Pompeii, when Mobius and Loki go back to the place and time to witness it, Mobius is actually giddy in that moment to see a very rare event with his own eyes. But he is forcing himself to be unnecessarily stiff, not enjoy himself as if he's not supposed to. But Loki forces Mobius to get out of this mental block and makes him lose to enjoy cool things in life and not feel guilty about it. Loki is influencing Mobius to accept his inner desires, wants and needs, to enjoy himself despite being a servant to the space lizards. Now couple this with his distaste of how the TVA Minutemen handled the people in the future Walmart scenario. I hope to see Mobius progress to question the TVA itself. This should happen as a natural conclusion to Loki challenging Mobius on his preconceptions and set-held beliefs. Number 5. How to boss. Mobius's incentive structure. There are two types of bosses. One who uses the carrot method, other who applies the stick method. The boss who applies the stick method declares negative consequences like getting fired or something if a failure might occur by the hands of his employee. This boss uses this technique uniformly on all his employees. In contrast, the boss who applies the carrot method declares positive incentives in case of a job well done by his employees. Now, these incentives are personalized to each employee. The boss crafts these personalized incentives by understanding each and every employee's personality, desires, wants and needs. Mobius is the second type of boss. In the first episode, Mobius insisted that he should know why Loki does what he does. And more importantly, he makes Loki himself understand it. Why does he think why he does what he does? By having this conversation and making Loki open up, Mobius has a full understanding of what kind of a personality Loki is and what he wants. And in the second episode, he uses this knowledge to make Loki do what Mobius wants him to do. Here is an example. When Mobius picks up Loki for their first assignment, Loki inquires Mobius if the TVA is concerned about him escaping and how can they be sure that he will truly help them. So Mobius just shrugs it off, saying that they know how to catch him again if they need to. But more importantly, if Loki helps them catch this evil Loki, Mobius dangles a proposition that he might get to meet the timekeepers. He does not threaten him that if he tries to flee that he would be killed. Instead, Mobius incentivizes Loki with a positive outcome if he completes the task what Mobius wants him to do. Classic carrot situation. The best part is that we really buy this because it gels so well with his personality. That was an excellent choice by the showrunners to make Mobius an everyday kind of a guy who does things in an efficient manner and does not bring his ego into the situation. Bonus point. There are two quirky things I liked in this episode. Number one, there are no chocolates on Asgard.
Yeah, grapes, nuts.
And number two, this trying thing.
The hell was that?
That was my video on thoughts I had after watching episode 2 of Loki. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I'll see you in the next one.